Welcome to 10 minutes of Melissa fixing her hair. What's going on, guys? Bienvenidos. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, subscribe, join the family, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on my uploads. Today, instead of just creating this look, which, what is this frizz? What is this frizz? Anytime I air dry my hair, the frizz is just, it's bound to come out. Anyway, back to what I was saying. This is the look I've been wearing this entire time being at home when I want to look a little more done up, but still feel natural-ish. But I also feel like it's a look I've done before. So instead of just creating the look, I wanted to tell you guys when you should splurge or save your money. I know money might be tight for a lot of people right now, and even though you want to spend money on the higher end foundation, you technically don't have to. And you can still look and feel your best in affordable products. You don't have to break the bank. And so I thought today, while doing this staple look of mine, I would share, just in my opinion, when you should splurge or save. And you guys would be surprised. A lot of this look is actually affordable products. And I can't wait to share them with you guys. So if you want to know how you should, you know, save a couple bucks here and there, or when you should indulge, keep on watching. Primers, I think you can totally do without them. So to get straight to the point, I would save when it comes to a primer and really focus on finding the coverage that you want, whether it's with concealer or foundation. But with primer, I completely feel like it's optional. However, I've really been into primer lately, and I can totally see how if you have enlarged pores or texture, you might rely on a primer. So for that case, I would say splurge. I think it's worth spending money on a high quality primer, especially if it's the first thing that comes into contact with your skin, that's creating sort of like that barrier between your skin and foundation. Personally, I haven't found a drugstore primer that I absolutely love that doesn't make my makeup end up looking heavier. That is what tends to happen with most drugstore primers, unless you're going for a glowy finish. If you want glow, dewiness, shimmer, then I think drugstore is totally fine. But if you want pore minimizing, mattifying, then I would go higher end. So I'm gonna use this TATCHA liquid silk canvas to prep my skin. And I just found out the other day when I was filming that I can't zoom in too much when filming myself, since, you know, I do everything on my own, independent woman. I have to not crop my head or else I go in and out of focus constantly, and it's obnoxious. I know you guys hate it as well. So I've learned that I can't zoom in super tight when doing the eyes, but just enough so that you guys can see the details. And with the primer, I'm only applying it to the areas where I have enlarged pores, like the center of the face. So a little should go a long way if you are spending or splurging on a primer. Then I'm taking my OFRA sponge and patting in the primer in place. I think the OFRA sponge is much more affordable than Beauty Blender. Don't quote me on that. I also did a video on favorite brushes and must-haves and focused on the shape and the texture versus just like the actual brush and brand name and whatnot. So if you guys want to check that out for tools, because I'm not going to be covering that today, check that out. For foundation, I would 100% say with all the confidence in the world that you can definitely save, because drugstore foundations, tinted moisturizers, they've come a long way. They are so high quality nowadays. I have been nonstop wearing this Maybelline Dream Urban Cover full coverage protective makeup. It has sunscreen, SPF 50. I'm the shade 220 Natural Beige. I wear this all the time and I get so many compliments on my skin. It has an amazing coverage that still looks and feels like skin. It's really comparable to the IT Cosmetics CC cream. You guys will see. Prepare to be amazed. I'm gonna apply it with my OFRA sponge again. I've really been into patting my foundation back in. When you use a primer, I feel like it perfectly pats it on top of the primer and doesn't move it around. So you get the ultimate flawless finish. I'm also gonna apply this to my eyelids. So speaking of eyeshadow primer, is it something that I consider to be essential that you should splurge on? No. My eye got blurry. What's my eye? Eyeshadow primer is 100% optional. I think that foundation looks the absolute best on eyelids before eyeshadow. It looks natural, blends into the rest of your skin because you obviously are wearing your foundation on the rest of your skin. Unless you're looking for a specific colored base in your eyeshadow, like a long-wearing cream eyeshadow that you're gonna use with everything else, then in that case, I think you can go either or, because Maybelline makes some great 24-hour wear cream eyeshadows. But if you're just looking for a clear eyeshadow primer, like one that's meant to make your eyeshadow last longer, I think you can skip out on it and go for a long wearing foundation on your eyelid. I love the L'Oreal Fresh Wear Infallible foundation. Use that as an eyeshadow primer all the time. It's super long wearing. Something like this, if you have really oily eyelids, this would probably slip around. I don't have the oiliest eyelids, and I also don't wear my makeup for that long. If you do have oily eyelids, definitely use a long wearing foundation as an eyeshadow base. And not something creamy like this. Concealer, there are great drugstore options out there, but I haven't found one that really I can truly say like, wow, this is a high-end comparable concealer. So for under eye concealer, I would splurge. Definitely spend on a higher end concealer if you have problems with your under eyes creasing or looking dry. I think it's worth spending money on a concealer because concealer can easily look super heavy and dry and cakey, especially on the under eyes or on spots that you don't want to stand out like blemishes. For face concealer, I just kind of want to share my current favorite because it has, I think, beaten my Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage. It's the Marc Jacobs Accomplice Concealer. I use shades 39 and 33. I think I can do with just 39. 33 is a little orange sometimes, but if I have additional, oh, maybe this one's the dark one. Psych! I am shade medium 33. So this one, look at this. I love the coverage. And the reason I'm bringing it up and recommending it and saying that you should splurge on it is because on days when I'm in a rush, I take that concealer, just spot conceal or apply it where needed, and then I take a little brush and blend it out, and it seriously saves me every time. It's almost like a foundation stick and concealer in one. So for under eye concealer, I'm gonna use this Makeup Forever Ultra HD Concealer. I'm mixing the shades 34 and 21. So I kind of do the darker one on the outer edge so that the lighter shade kind of blends out seamlessly into everything else and it isn't just super stark white on the side of the face. Powder. I feel the same way about powder as I do concealer, and that's that there aren't that many affordable options that end up looking flawless, seamless, like your skin. They end up making my makeup look heavy every time. They do the job, they definitely set, but I feel like I have to completely douse myself in a mist to try and lessen the look of powder on my face, and I just feel really dry, and it clings to the skin. I don't know. If you guys have a recommendation for an affordable one, comment down below. I'm gonna say splurge for myself and use the Laura Mercier because this powder, I think, tried and true, it's the best out there. Every makeup artist uses it. It sets everything in place, stops it from creasing. Second to that would be the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder if you want a talc-free option. The Laura Mercier one does contain talc. I wish they would find a way to get rid of it, but talc really does. Everyone agreed with me in my last video when I said, you wanna know the secret to not having creasy or creases on your makeup, on your under eyes, laugh line? It's talc. And I wish that was a joke, but I feel like that's the reason why the Laura Mercier one is so good, and talc is not good for you at all. So I'm hoping, Laura Mercier, if you guys see this, you maybe come out with a talc-free version of your powder that's just as good. I end up using less of the Laura Mercier powder too in comparison to other powders because even the smallest amount will set your makeup in place. I'm not gonna set my eyelids, but I picked up the powder, the Laura Mercier powder on the bottom of my beauty blender. I dust off the excess and then just press it into the rest of my skin as if it were a powder puff. And again, you end up using a lot less, especially with the Laura Mercier powder. I'm gonna be highlighting next because for this look, I want it to look super glossy and wet and fresh and just says summer on my skin. For this, I would say save, and I have several options here. There's so many, just like how I feel about the drugstore foundation category. I feel like the highlighter category within drugstore formulas has gotten really, really good. I feel like brands did a really good job at catching on to making higher quality highlighters. I know that in the past they used to look a little dusty, they would look like glitter, they were just not my favorite. And now, seriously, the drugstore has been killing it with highlighters. My top two highlighters are from the drugstore, the REVLON SkinLights 202 Twilight Gleam, and number one right now is the PIXI Glossy Gossamer Duo. I love this one in particular because it has a pink shade and a golden shade. So you have a cool tone and a warm tone. And these just give my skin the ultimate glossy, wet finish. Let's show you what it looks like on powdered skin versus my normal technique of misting, letting it dry, and then applying. So let's go in with the beige shade. Oh, you guys are ready for this. If you haven't experienced it yet, I show it all the time on my Instagram stories, but if you haven't seen this in action, I don't think I've used it here on YouTube yet. This is over powdered skin. Look at that. So stunning, and the undertone is just absolutely perfect. And I'm using a Sephora Pro Fan 62 brush. So something a little more dense so I can really work it in. I mean, do you need anything else? I don't think so. For bronzer, I'm gonna have to say splurge on this one. Same reason being that the skin, you guys, skin just makes or breaks makeup. And if it looks patchy, chalky, cakey, it just ruins my whole mood. And I haven't found an amazing drugstore bronzer. I love Butter Bronzer from Physicians, and also the one from Number 7 Beauty, I believe. But you have to be a little careful with the application. I know that I can change up my technique and whatnot, but I think for someone who may be new to makeup, or maybe they're scared of bronzer, as I feel like a lot of people are, I don't know anymore, but back when I used to freelance, people were afraid of bronzer. Bronzer and powder are like the two that people are like, I'm scared to use it. So any recommendations for a drugstore bronzer that you think someone who's a beginner at makeup or super advanced could love and enjoy, comment down below. So I would say splurge. NARS bronzers are the best. They don't have to be this high end, but I mean, there's definitely more affordable options out there. Even like MAC is probably a little more affordable, but I just love the way this applies. I feel like it never fails me, it never goes on splotchy, and I just love it. So I'm gonna use Laguna Matte. And I'm using Roxette's brush with Sigma Beauty, the Iconic Bronze brush, to apply it so it's a little softer, not so chiseled. I feel like this summer I've definitely been going for more of a airbrush, not so defined look with all my makeup. And this brush definitely does that for the bronzer. Look at that. So I start at the hollows and then I just kind of swirl it upwards. Same bronzer, I'm just using a little bit of a lighter shade. This is Vallarta. And I'm gonna add that to the sides of the nose and lower lip. And I'm holding off on spraying my face until I add blush, because blush, if your skin is not an even consistency, so if parts of it are wet or moist, some are powdered, some are not, would you splurge or save for blush? I would say save, because Milani makes some of the best blushes out there. I absolutely love them. I also wanted to share this PIXI blush kit with you guys. It also has a really amazing highlighter. And honestly, this pink one, it looks scary, but when you blend it out really, really well, it's not scary looking at all. But I love that you get 4 options in one palette here. If not, the Milani ones are absolutely amazing. Oh, I think I broke it. Like I always say, it wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't drop something. But these blushes are just so stunning. I think I'm actually gonna use this one. This color right here is just calling my name. It is the Baked Powder Blush in shade number 15. So I'm gonna do that and then I'm gonna mist myself. And with the blush, for this look that I've been doing nonstop, I apply it like normal and go overboard up here into the temples. And then I also lightly sweep it into the crease with that same blush brush. And then with a clean brush, I'm using my Hourglass dual-ended brush. I'm gonna blend this out. Wanted to share one more thing, almost forgot. While I'm using this brush, because I use this for blush, bronzer, powder all the time. I also wanted to share with you guys the Revlon SkinLights in the shade 110 Sunlit Glow. This is amazing on the forehead. I'm gonna use the other end of my dual-ended brush, but I just love how subtle it ends up looking, and it adds that little bit of shimmer. So you still look glowy, but it looks way more natural than placing a highlight on your forehead right here like I used to do. Before I mist, I want to fill in my brows, because brow product goes on way better on mattified skin versus wet skin. So even if I'm doing eyebrows first, which I also have a video on that, guys. I did a video on the order I apply my makeup, doing eyes first, and also one on face first. And for this, I would 100% say save those dollar bills, because brow products, just like foundations from the drugstore, have gotten really good. e.l.f. Cosmetics makes an amazing range of brow products, pencils, gels, pomades, powders, everything. So I'm gonna use their Ultra Precise Brow Pencil. This is in the shade Neutral Brown. Roxette actually introduced me to this product, and it is honestly very comparable to my Dior, what do I call it? Universal Brow Pencil from Dior. I really love that pencil. It's my ride or die, but this is really comparable. It's a little more creamy, but it's literally like, I want to say less than $10. I'll have to look it up, but it's way more affordable than the Dior one, even though the Dior one's still my ultimate fave. You can definitely save and get the same effect with this e.l.f. pencil. So I'm just gonna fill in mainly like the ends of my brows where they're a little sparse. And then later on, I'm also gonna go in with the e.l.f. brow gel. You definitely do not need a splurge on a brow gel. But you see how amazing that goes on? Look at that, effortless. And again, I'm going to hold off on misting. I honestly think when I do this look, I do it so fast, I really think I mist and then I touch up again afterwards. So I'm gonna hold off on misting because I wanna go in with eyeshadow, and same thing, it's just gonna go on better if it's dried down versus wet. The foundation I had on my eyelid is pretty much dried down, and I'll pick up the excess creasing with my finger before going in with shadow, which you can 100% save your money on. There are so many great affordable eyeshadow palettes out there. ColourPop makes some of my absolute favorite eyeshadow palettes, not just affordable, comparing to high-end, they're just, period, some of my favorite eyeshadow palettes. This one, definitely an everyday essential, the Bare Necessities palette. Look at this. It's so good. I actually think I'm gonna use this palette because I really only need a color for my crease, a brown shadow. But this one from PIXI is also good. Hello LA Angel eyeshadow palette. It has some great shades in here. The shimmers, look at that. You could totally use maybe like this one up here as a face highlight if you wanted to. But there's so many options out there that are affordable. Definitely first take a look at ColourPop before you spend any of your hard-earned money on a super expensive palette, which I also just realized that eyeshadow palettes expire. I mean, I knew all makeup expired eventually. They all have like a little, ColourPop doesn't seem to have it, but most makeup products have this little container symbol, if you guys can see it right here. This one says 18 months. So from the moment you open up this bronzer, it's gonna last you 18 months and then it's expired, or it's considered expired. And the same happens with eyeshadow palettes. And I don't know about you guys, but I cannot remember the last time I completely finished an eyeshadow palette. I don't think I've ever finished one completely where every single eyeshadow's empty, hit pan on, and they expire. Usually within 12 to 18 months is standard. So be mindful of that as well. I do, however, I'm a ride or die for Pat McGrath Labs eyeshadow palettes. I think they're the best. Would 100% spend my money on them. I love them. But for an everyday palette, something like this from ColourPop is perfect. So I'm only gonna be using Hot Gossip right here, which is a really neutral brown, a little bit dusty, but not too dusty where it looks gray. And I don't want to go too warm because I want it to look natural like a contour. So I'm just gonna toss that into the eyes using what I like to call the Katie Jane Hughes technique. Instead of going in the entire crease, you're only gonna apply it to the outer edge and still blend it out, diffuse it. I'm also gonna apply it right here to this inner corner. So there's sort of like a gap between the inner corner and outer corner. Also applying this to the lower lash line. Super quick, easy look, which is why I've been wearing it nonstop. In that space where I skipped over and didn't apply any eyeshadow, I'm going to take that highlighter duo from PIXI, and with a large fluffy brush, I'm going to sweep it onto the eyelid and then continue sweeping it up towards that brow bone. So you start on the eyelid and then you just sweep up. I'm also gonna use this as an inner corner highlight. I'm very brave here using this large brush for that. I would definitely switch over to a smaller one, but this is kind of what I do when I'm in a rush. I don't try and be precise or switch brushes. I try and just get it all done really quick using the same tools. I'm gonna go ahead and do it on the other side. And then I think we can finally mist the skin, guys. For a mist, save that money. Save, do not splurge. I used to have this one that I picked up from Urban Outfitters that was literally just like a rose water glycerin spray. and I realized it finally expired. Speaking of expiring products, it expired. It was huge, large, and in charge. Would last you forever. You could probably honestly mix your own. You just gotta be really careful with the ingredients and make sure you're not using anything that will ruin your makeup. But you can definitely splurge. I think e.l.f. makes some really great ones. I think this one is expired. I've had it for a really long time, but it was one of my favorites. It's the e.l.f. Active Post-Workout Cool Down Mist. But to refresh your makeup, it's amazing. This one, Fourth Ray Beauty, which I believe is a sister brand to ColourPop. It's the Dew It Hydrating Hyaluronic Mist. Dew It, spelled D-E-W. I'm gonna use this to refresh my makeup, really bring out that glow. Really going for it there. Brow gel, like I said earlier, definitely save. You can even use hairspray. I'm using the e.l.f. It's like a little duo. It's a clear mascara, clear brow gel. In case you're like, why would you ever need a clear mascara? Some days you just want your natural lashes to be held up or look glossy, and that's why you would use a clear mascara. The last time I had this product, when I started to run out of the brow side, I just straight up started using the mascara side on my brows. And then mascara, save. My all-time favorite is the L'Oreal Voluminous I use the waterproof brown black on my lower lashes in every single video, daily. It's my go-to lower lash mascara. Brown black just looks more natural on my eyes, and it's waterproof, great for under the eyes, but the normal formula as well is fantastic. I used this for years in college because my roommate told me that it was her favorite mascara, and she would always buy it on sale because it's always like a buy one get one at the local drugstore. So you could definitely save and buy this, especially when it's on sale. They still do those sales on that mascara all the time. And then there's other dupes for high-end mascaras. This one is from Flower Beauty. It's the Warrior Princess Mascara. It looks identical to Better Than Sex from Too Faced. I'm actually gonna use this on my upper lashes and then Voluminous on my lower, but point being, safe. Okay, and finally for the lip. I think lips are definitely the one thing you can get away with not spending a ton of money on. You can obviously easily get tempted into spending a lot of money on because it's easy to justify that you don't have a color that looks like that or a formula that feels that way. So I think lips, it's one of the ones that you get so sucked into the beauty of the lipstick that you get tunnel vision and you're like, oh my God, I spent $100 on that lipstick. I hope you never spend $100 on a lipstick. But you can definitely save when it comes to lipstick. There's so many great formulas out there. Milani makes great ones. Wet n Wild, which is incredibly affordable, makes really great ones. ColourPop, so many options. Same thing with lip liner. Maybelline, L'Oreal, and Flower Beauty all have really great options. These L'Oreal Infallible, no, what are they called? L'Oreal Color Riche Matte lip liners are amazing. These ones with the little gold stripe around the top, these are amazing. The shades, which one is it? 112 Mastermind. These are just really great nudie colored options. The other one is 110 Matte's It. I need to sharpen these. Okay, I don't know why my sharpeners are sharpening horribly right now, but this is the other color, Matte's It. It's more of like a brownie mauve, I would say. Great for contouring the lip. And then I have these Maybelline shades. Some are a little too pinky. This one looks good though. This is the shade 115 Totally Toffee. Another great contouring lip color for a nude lip or just if you want to wear gloss. And then let's also do the Flower Beauty one. This is Flower Beauty Petal Pout Lip Liner in Toffee. And I'm just trying to show you guys more like everyday kind of lip colors. Ones that you would rely on. Again, this is like an everyday look for me. So these are, I mean, even the colorful ones from L'Oreal and Maybelline are really, really good. I'm gonna use Totally Toffee to outline my lips. And then the Milani gloss I'm using is number 15, Natural Luster. The lip liner is a little darker than I wanted it to be, but that's okay. And that's it. Did we save money? I think so. That's a wrap on this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed this look and also just kind of hearing my overall thoughts on when you should splurge or save. Definitely share this video with anyone who maybe struggles to hold back on not buying the latest and greatest. I know I'm guilty of that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Bye. See you later. I don't know what this head tilt was for. When you first heard Rain On Me, did anyone else think it said, I may not be drunk, but at least I'm alive? No, just me? Okay. Do a full-blown, I just spit everywhere. I really gotta stop filming on Tuesdays. Trash day? Something like this from ColourPop, especially wherever I highlighted. Oh, wrong one! Oh